No, we're live. So I was not. I don't know how to do my end. Well, we're live, and our show opener did not kick off. So anyway, welcome to the show, everybody. I think Jess might be having technical difficulties. I don't know if she's going to get in today or not. So hopefully everybody can hear us, because y'all know I am technically challenged when it comes to this stuff. I have a sick husband here, a 3-year-old, and a crazy dog outside. So let me apologize up front for all the background noise.
That's okay. I've got
And
a cockatoo. I got a cockatoo screaming in the background and echo on the phone.
So, right, so it's just going to be chaos today. You know, it is what it is. You know, we'll do what we can do here. So apparently everything is just gone batshit crazy today and not working appropriately for us. So let me start out and say welcome to our second episode of Bloodstains and Broomsticks. Of course, I'm Terry, and we have special guest host Gail with us today. We don't know if Jess is going to join or not, but we'll see. Today we were going to talk a little bit about Slender Man, but we've had a little project in the background that we've been working on. And Gail, I'm going to let you announce, if you would, since, I mean, it's near and dear to my heart, but I know this is something that's been near and dear to your heart for a lot longer. And we're so proud that we can be able to do this. I did talk to Jess last night, you know, and it's near and dear to her heart too. She's got, you know, family members as well. So, Gail, tell everyone what we are going to be working on, along with everything else we do on the show.
We're going to try and do a feature about missing and murdered Indigenous women, which is it's an issue across Canada and the United States, in every state. So a lot of people have the illusion that it's just in the Dakotas and Minnesota, but it's everywhere. Young women are especially targeted, sometimes young boys. The percentages of this happening are 10 times worse with Native American women. I will include women of color in my discussion because it's all women of color. And with natives in particular, 4 out of 5 women are subject to either kidnapping or other violence in their lifetime. That means if you have 5 kids, only one of them is going to have a normal life. It's terrifying.
It is terrifying. You know, and I was doing a little research last night as well on this, and I can tell you that the youngest victim in the Native American, you know, and within this group of people, the youngest victim, younger than 1, you know, a baby, and then the oldest victim that's documented. Now we need to put that out there. That's documented, because the cases, it's like I have the stats all on my iPad here that I'm using to stream from, so I don't want to fuck anything up. Y'all know how I am. I'm technically challenged. If I start trying to get to my notes here, I will mess it up. Next week I will be much better prepared on this. But I do believe it's like only 1 in 7. That 7 that's reported, only 1 case the cops will take seriously and work on that. Y'all, that hurts my soul to the deepest. I can't even tell, you know, because I am not knocking like Natalie Holloway, for example. I live here in Alabama. That was a big case. My kids were just a few years younger than Natalie when all that happened. And even today, all these years later, this thing, it's still big time in the news, which I mean, not that it shouldn't be, but I think all missing people, it should not matter what color they are, but especially, why are we letting all these women come up missing and we don't take it seriously when it's reported? I mean, it's a serious problem, a serious problem.
It definitely
It
is.
definitely
Um,
is.
I think
I
also
think
that
also
the
that
lack of
the lack of
reporting is
reporting is
possibly because
possibly
natives in general don't trust, um, you know, the greater
the greater
society and the
society
police
and the police
stations in the
stations in the
area.
and why would they? Why would they?
No,
I
I know.
mean, no, I know. Let's be real. Why would they? Y'all, I am trying to cover the toilet. Obviously, I have to podcast from the bathroom. So let me just but the elephant in the room is yes, that's the toilet behind me, and I'm gonna stop trying to sit here and bounce it around and covering it up. So
Yeah,
go ahead, Gil.
I was just
I
gonna
was just
say
gonna say
there's also
there's
the
also the
cultural
cultural
factor within the
factor
Native
with the Native
American
American
folks
folks
not
not
trusting
trusting
the larger
the larger
society.
society.
And
Jess has joined us. She got it. Hey, girl.
hi, Jess.
Hi, Jess.
Hi.
Hi. And I'm gonna mute my camera for a minute and check on the kid because he went out there and now I got the cat jumping in my plant. Gail, continue what you were saying.
Oh, Jess, we were talking about the missing and murdered Indigenous women and the statistics that go with that.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of terrifying when you think if 5 Native women are born, only one is going to have a non-violent, normal life. Not that they're the only group, but that's definitely some scary statistics.
Yes, it is.
So, and I'm not sure where Terry was going to go with this, but
well, I was just kind of, announcing that we got the okay with Native Hope. They, said yes, that they welcome us to share stories of missing women, and so we just got the okay late last night, so I haven't been able to go in and actually find. I don't want to say the most important case because that seems to like all of them are important. I guess maybe the most current case or the youngest. I don't know how we'll decide, but each month until if we put this person out and they're found the next day, that would just be fucking fabulous. I mean, that would be great. But for the entire month, we'll talk about, we'll give the details. We won't do the whole show about it, but we'll start and kind of end and just share pictures and let y'all know who's out there. And, we'll keep this on our Bloodstains and Broomsticks page. And all the information we're going to put in the links. And, y'all just be aware that this is going on and, how much it's happening because it's happening a lot. It's happening a lot.
the hope is
The
to
hope
getting
is to get
their
their
faces out
faces
there
out
that
there
somebody
that
might
somebody
see
might
them
see them
and
and
help would
help
be
would
sent.
be some. Right, right. So yeah, I mean, that's why we've decided to do this. We're always looking to try to find, some way we can help. What can we do to make the world a better place? And if this is something that we can do, I'm trying to adjust the camera angle here again, y'all. I guess I could just remove my name from there, and that would probably just make it easier, wouldn't it? So, are you awake, Jess? Are you with us? How are you today?
Not feeling
Not
great.
feeling great.
Feeling great.
Feeling great. That's this going around. I've got Lenny homesick today. I also have this. We'll go ahead and get him up here so he can see that
Hi
he's on
there.
camera for a minute too. Say hey, everybody.
Hi.
Hi. So this is the mini Lenny for the world. We're introducing him live to the world today. All right, go play now. So I guess we'll jump to Slender Man. So I did my research last night. Well, I mean, I've known about Slender Man, but I dug a little bit deeper last night. What I find interesting is that this is an internet cryptid. I knew that it was kind of a, I hate to say made up thing because I know that there's some serious legal cases out there involving Slender Man.
Well, it's a creepypasta, and all a creepypasta is a campfire story.
Right, right. That's Gail and I were kind of talking about it a little bit. I don't know, I guess a couple days ago, whenever she was doing a little bit of her research and told me her thoughts. I feel the same. It's like when we were kids, that campfire story was you can't look in the mirror and say Bloody Mary 3 times or 10 times or whatever it was, because she's going to come rip you apart, things like that. And of course, as soon as I heard that story, I went and did it, and nothing ever happened, so here we are today with Slender Man, so
the interesting thing with this is like the internet. Oh, I think I'm going to jump off and have to jump back in.
No, you're back on, Gail. You're good now.
The interesting thing about it is because it's on the internet, they can backtrace it to one person. His name was Eric Nuxon.
Yeah.
And he actually created it in June of 2009.
Yeah, I was going to say, I did just see that 2009 last night. And, I was kind of looking at it as I was going to sleep, Gail. Why did he create it?
I think Creepypasta is a site where kids were just going to tell creepy stories, like Jess said.
He created it for a Photoshop contest.
Ah, yes. Okay. That makes sense. Because a lot of the
he photoshopped this creepy tall man into the background of some photos, and he did really good.
Apparently.
And it just grew from there. Now they're a movie, they're video games.
Yeah,
you need some coffee, Jess?
I'm struggling.
So
I think with young people going on the internet, though, so he was probably aiming for older teenagers to get involved in this storytelling.
Right.
And when you start getting really young kids involved, they aren't as aware of the difference between reality and fantasy.
Right. And let's be real, when we were kids, we sneak and hide. We do a lot of shit that our parents have no idea what we're doing. Yeah. And you get kids that are, I don't want to accuse anybody's parents of, not being there for their kids, but I know a lot of kids get wrapped up in their phones, on the internet, and their whole life becomes focused on, how many likes they get on Facebook, or how much whatever, and they just absorb this stuff all day long. So, the interesting thing to me, the one case with the 2 young girls, they're both 12 years old, and it just, I can't even wrap my mind around, when I was 12 years old, I did some stupid shit, but I just can't wrap my head around how you can get there, so Gail, you want to talk about the psychology of that a little bit, maybe what parents need to kind of be aware of, because mean, obviously, these kind of things aren't going away as the internet just becomes more and more popular.
Well, I mean, there's a lot playing into this.
You're muted, Jess. You were
There's
muted.
Vanessa and Morgan, who were the perpetrators in the crime, and then their friend Peyton, who went by Bella. When I was researching, what I found out is Anessa was kind of a lonely child that was a follower. And Morgan, who is actually the one who did the stabbing, from what I read, the issue that happened with her, and it's funny you bring up that she's 12 years old. So Morgan's father is schizophrenic, and schizophrenia has 2 time periods when it comes out, usually, that you notice it. One time period is usually around puberty, and then the other time period is around 25, and that has to do with brain development and way technical stuff. But
Right.
she was at puberty, and the thing that, like the story that I researched, her mom tried to explain to her about having her period and how babies are made, so the talk. And she looked right at her mom and said, that can't be real. But yet Slender Man was more than real to her. And
Right.
she believed that she had been recruited by Slender Man, along with Anessa, to be his proxies or his helpers. So proxies with Slender Man get sent out to do that work. So she is diagnosed with schizophrenic, which is genetic.
Right.
And she did, her father is schizophrenic, so there is that factor playing into it. But as far as how Slender Man works, I think it's mass hysteria, or what is the other word they call it? They group or shared delusion, which is a lot like how Hitler.
Right. Well, it kind of reminded me of the Son of Sam guy too. What, Berkowitz, is it David Berkowitz? Was that his name? Of course, he was schizophrenic with the voices in his head. So, my nephew was diagnosed in his early 20s. So he hit that young adulthood mark. Now, I think that he may have shown signs, when he was younger, but the real diagnosis came out, much later. Which, while I mention him, I do want to throw out that on the Things Network, I'm not sure what time. I wish I had better details on this, but there is a 22-hour podcast marathon going on for suicide prevention. I know that Zach and Adrian Clayton of Things Network are putting this together. I know there's going to be a lot of people on talking about suicide prevention and their personal stories about suicide has helped them. So I know that kicks off tomorrow on the 22nd. I'm not sure, but I'm sure the details are on Things. And y'all, everybody, please tune in because that's a very important, thing as well. And does happen, obviously, with people with mental illness and, schizophrenia. And, not only can these people commit murders and do things that are unimaginable, but they can also kill themselves too. So I just wanted to kind of have that little open window there to throw that out there. I'll be on at 4:20 in the morning. I've had suicide affect me, not directly. I mean, my nephew, but I don't want to, put it out there like, that it's hit my home, and because I know there's so many people. Jess has had things that have hit directly in their home, and so my situation has not been of that nature. But I was thinking about it the other day when Adrian and I were discussing this. I have like 4 or 5 things, that when I start thinking about it, and in a roundabout way, it did hit home directly for my child. Um, and I'll talk about that. I don't want to spill it all on there, but for people that don't catch that, maybe we'll talk about that at a later date on this show. But yeah, I just want to throw that out there. I know I will be on. I'm not sure if it's 4:20 Central Standard Time or Mountain Time because they're out in Colorado. I have to get with Adrian today, but just like I said, wanted to shameless plug there because that's a huge thing that they're doing, and this is the third year that they've done it. They've got some prizes that they're giving away, y'all. So I mean, y'all should definitely check it out. Like Adrian said, there's like a I don't think it's a cruise, but I mean it's a big deal. It's like Puerto Rico or something like that. It's a huge prize. And so they've got some fabulous prizes, and I'm not sure exactly what's all happening, but it's definitely going to be worth checking out, y'all.
That's excellent because mental health is a big issue in this country.
Right, looks like Jess is. We hope she's doing okay over there. She says she's not doing well today. I can see in the background here. She's choking her little head off.
Oh,
Um,
goodness.
yeah, we may need to relieve her of her duties today, and um, but so yeah, we'll definitely be talking more about mental health issues and things like this on the show. If there's anything that anybody watching, I don't think we have any viewers this morning, but they come back and watch later. Um, so if y'all, if there's anything y'all ever want to talk about, hit us up in the on our Bloodstains and Broomsticks page. We will get the link in the chat here. We have several links. I'm going to put the Native Hope link in there, the missing and murdered indigenous women link in there. Then we'll have our show link. So we'll get all the links to anything that we've talked about. We'll get that added in the comments today. Um, and I guess we'll get back on, the whole Slender Man phenomena a little bit. Yeah, again, Gil, I can't wrap my head around. I guess because if you're not schizophrenic or something like that, and you don't live with that, then I can see Jess is popping up links here in the comments, in the background. If how do I mean, I understand, that schizophrenia is not something that they can, just right away say, okay, your kid's schizophrenic. We need to watch out for these things. But, and I do know that those things are hereditary, but let's talk about a little bit. Is it just people who are schizophrenic who do things like this?
Well, in my reading, I'm going to say that this is cult-like. So it's a lot like Charlie Manson or Hitler, where they mesmerize people to the point where they would do their bidding. The difference is Slender Man is a make-believe entity. So that's why this one's different. It is a cult. I will say it's got all the earmarks of a cult.
Right.
But Slender Man's not causing this, and that's an interesting aspect.
Right. I mean, that's where I'm having such a hard time with this because it's made up. I mean, it's a simple type in Google, who is Slender Man? And the first thing I found was he's an internet cryptid. He was made up by this guy on, what was it, that pasta something.
On Creepypastas, the site.
Yeah, it's like, so I cannot wrap my head around how in the world I mean, I know the kids are naive, and that you can make them believe things. I mean, like with this one all the time. There's monsters outside. I have to tell them all the time, Grandma chases all the monsters away. Grandma's bigger and better than any monster that's out there. So, so I try to keep them reassured that way. All my grandkids. I think even my oldest one, who's about to be 16, probably will tell you that she ain't afraid of nothing because her grandma is bigger and badder than any monsters out there. So, I try to put that in my grandkids and my kids too. My kids always knew, they didn't have to be scared of anything but their mama. you know.
And mine too, but I don't think that that happens as often as it did when we were younger, Terry. Um, a lot of parents are too busy to see what the kids are doing. Um, or like with these parents, one set of parents thought that they actually looked at the girl's site and saw a creepy pasta and they thought it was innocent enough because it was just a spooky story.
Right.
But the thing with Slender Man that feeds into this is that, I mean, his description is everything. So any shadow that these kids see could be Slender Man. But
Right.
he's 6 foot tall, he's 11 foot tall, he has no face, he has white skin, he has eyes, he has no eyes, he has tentacles that come out of his back. So it's so vague that they can take anything and
make
name
it
it
Slender Man.
and saying that it's Slender Man or it's coming from Slender.
Well, we had a case that we worked on a couple years ago, and Gail, I consulted you on this case. Remember that I told you that I thought it was Native American, and there was heavy racism and all that going on in the house. Um, what exactly that person was describing that they had seen. What as soon as I took it to the team, and I think you'll remember this, it fit every description of Slender Man that you've ever seen. And this person, was a 50-year-old person, was not a child. But their description of the shadow that they seen, it everything was Slender Man. It's like, because when she's telling me these things and I go do my paranormal research, what cases fit this description, and I reach out to my other teams across the country and the world that I talk to, and people like you, Gail, and I consult, and everybody's like, and I think that's really where I learned about Slender Man was when I was doing that case. It was like, what the fuck is happening here? It's a made up internet cryptid. It's not even. I mean, I know at some point I have looked up the whole Bloody Mary thing. Oh, we just got spammed here, and I don't have Jess there to do her thing. Oops. What the hell? We got some kind of. Can you see all that in the chat there, Gail?
No.
And wait a minute. Maybe I can. Yeah. Block user. We got him. I'm gonna delete the comments. It's like a foreign language that just popped up in here.
Oh my goodness.
Then it's got call. It's got some phone number in there too. So that happens. That is the downfall. One day maybe they're going to finally get the internet lines out here. We had kind of canceled our original show because of my internet situation, and then the Spectrum showed up last spring and told us the lines are coming. We'll be here by the end of the summer. So when DirecTV jacked up my bill again, I hang on. Oh, that's better. Um, I canceled it. Didn't renew my contract because we were so close to the end of summer. Here we are, the end of winter, and I still don't have internet. And kind of agreed to come back and do a show again. And yeah, so I do apologize for the technical difficulties that we don't. I can't block these spammers and all that stuff as they come right up, but hang with us, y'all. We're gonna get there.
Hey, we just got to practice.
Yeah, well, see, I'm doing it from my iPad, obviously, because I can't hook up to the internet. My iPad has its own little Wi-Fi thingy there, so I'm not, I am not, I'm not technical savvy enough to catch this stuff and like see the banners in the chat and all that that's off to the side. If I'm on the computer, it's much easier to do. So
I can't rescue you. I'm older than you are.
it is an age thing, isn't it? I think if you're 40 or younger, the whole internet thing might be a challenge. Maybe not for all, I'm not calling out all people that are, 40 and above, but I do see that a lot, and that it seems to be us older ones. But, kind of while we're on this subject of Slender Man and internet, things like that, I watched a thing the other day about kids born from, was it 2010? Whatever year the iPad was made. And have you seen any of that, Gail?
Well, that was one of the things that came up in my research is that these kids are staying on the internet so much that it becomes their life, and they're not using their imagination outside of the internet. And so that's why creepypasta became so popular. I don't know about y'all, but up here, kids get an iPad in first grade. All their schooling is done through this iPad. No books, no nothing else. So in a way, society is making them dependent on the internet.
Right, right. I mean, I myself, I realized how much time I was spent, just scrolling, and you go down one rabbit hole that leads to another. I'm very ADD, so that is part of being ADD is lose track of time and your brain switches channels 50 different times. The internet makes it really easy to be ADD. I guarantee you that. But I caught myself and realized, I am losing the outside world. And so I have, made a very conscious effort to put it down, walk away, and I do apologize that people that used to send me messages on Messenger all the time, now you might sit in my inbox for a week because I'm just not paying attention to it. I'm sorry to tell y'all just ain't that important. I mean, if the people that I love, I talk to, pick up the phone and call me. Let's have a real conversation. I'm going back to the old days when we didn't have a phone in our face all the time. And I miss that. And I want to be a good example for the kids, when the kids are around. Even my grown children, I have made an effort. Lay the damn phone down. Lay the phone down because we need face to face human contact. Because look what's happening. Our kids are buying into these internet made up things, and it's becoming a real thing, when people are committing murders and stuff over an internet cryptid, basically, that makes it a real fucking thing, y'all.
It is an issue. Um, so scientifically, scrolling or staying on the internet creates dopamine, which is the same reason why we have drug addicts, because they are looking for dopamine.
Right.
So even so, it's becoming more prevalent in these younger kids because these quite often are kids with ADHD, and they're looking for that dopamine fix.
Right.
But in the meantime, they're reading all these things and thinking they're real. And
Yeah, I've seen it, with adults, someone I've known a very long time. I had to, cut the ties because they spend so much time, in this, that every conspiracy theory that's out on the internet, they believe, and this is an adult educated person, college educated person. I'm not even talking, this at one point was an intelligent person, and now, they're into the earth could be flat thing. It is insane, the conspiracy theories that just roll off of this person. It's like, what the fuck is happening, y'all?
yeah,
It just blows my mind. Because hey, I admit I am not the most mentally stable person in the land. You know, I'm, I'm not. I know I'm not. I own it. But when someone like me is sitting here going, "Well, wait, what?" Um, it just seems to me that other people that are more mentally stable than I am should be recognizing what in the hell is happening.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I think also our school system fails our kids because they don't teach them how to cognitively think. So
No,
you look at
they
something and say, like, I need to research that. I need to find out who said that. I need to find out why they said that. Um, and that seems to be going by the wayside because the schools are obsessed with technically educating our kids. So we're
right.
educating our kids to have a job. We're not educating our kids to think.
Right, right. Yeah, it's I hate to say this out loud, and I know there are some excellent teachers out there. I am not taking away anything from teachers, but I know a lot of their hands are tied too. They have, all their hands are tied. They have to teach the curriculum that the school board dictates that they have to teach, whether
Right.
they agree with that, whether they agree with that or not. So I do not blame teachers. I want to put that out there, right now, so that, teachers don't think when I say this that I'm bashing them. But it's very cultish in the public school education system too. And of course, I pulled my kids out in junior high for reasons. They were trying to force me to put my kid on Ritalin. And I did not think that was the answer for my kid. Maybe it works for some kids, but I knew my kid and she did not need that. And I've had experiences. Hell, I had a boyfriend, of course, before my husband, that he was a child of Ritalin, and I, suffered the aftermath. Now, was it the Ritalin that, made him this abusive, crazy person? I don't know. But I did a lot of research, when the school tried to diagnose my kid with ADD. It wasn't even a doctor or anything, it was the school diagnosing my kid, telling me to go get my kid on Ritalin, and when I refused, they put her in special needs class. Now, all she had to do, any teacher, whatever, my kid was the type of kid you just had to thump her in the back of the head and you're going to sit here and do this, and then she'd do it. But if she knew she could get up and be the class clown, then she was going to do that, you know. And that, well, we can't thump her in the back of the head. Well, call me and I'll do it. Well, we can't allow that. That's be. How is it abusive? I come up here and pop my kid, and unless I'm, like that, doesn't. This one just wiped his head off. But that's all you got to do, if your child, I don't want to, because my kids obviously they don't fear me, to the point that they're like huddled up in the corner, terrified mom's gonna come beat them. But they would have known if I walked in that school because their ass wasn't doing their schoolwork. Oh shit, I'm gonna get my ass in check. Or I could count on one hand how many times my kids were actually spanked. And when I say spanked, I'm talking swats on the butt, no more than 3 or 4 times, 5 times in their life, and they were serious offenses. In our house, lying and stealing. Those were the two things. If you lied or you stole something. And in every case that both of my children actually got their ass whipped, it was because they either lied or they stole. And they always had the opportunity, even if they lied about it, you can still come back and make it right. We're not just doling out ass whippings. It was because I wanted to teach them to do the right thing, to be the right kind of person. And I think I did okay. That neither one of my children are in prison. They're not drug addicts. They're productive citizens. They're both great moms. They're raising some great kids. But the kids my kids did not fear me. My grandkids don't fear me in that way of, oh my God, I'm going to get beat. But they feared me in a, oh, mom means business. So, the whole school thing with, well, we can't do that. That's abuse. But you don't think it's abusive to take my 9, 10-year-old kid and teach her when things don't do right, let's just take a pill? I mean,
Right. Right. I will say also that, and this is a criticism of the system, like you said, not the teachers, but the system. First of all, our school system came out of Nazi Germany. So that should tell you something.
exactly. And that's exactly what it appeared, little concentration camps.
Yeah, it's more about indoctrination than education.
Right.
Although there are great teachers out there, I had some amazing teachers. That's why I can cognitively think. And I
Right.
don't just buy something because somebody said it. I do my research.
Well, I tell
That
you,
said,
the best thing I think for me as a child, was my grandmother had a set of encyclopedias, old Britannica encyclopedias. And, I, as far back as I can remember, I was reading them things. I mean, for me, that was Google.
yep,
So I
ancient
guess
Google.
my investigative brain, because I do Google shit all the time. But when I was a kid, I mean, that's where it started for me. Oh, I
Yeah,
don't know something. I'm going to run and grab that encyclopedia and look it up. I mean, I was reading them encyclopedias when I was first, second grade. Yeah, I can remember, remember the pages of the human anatomy, and you can flip and it put the bones and the veins and, you know,
yeah.
that kind of stuff. I mean, I learned more out of those encyclopedias than I ever learned in school. And that's just being honest.
Well, and tying this back to Slender Man, the thing that I see happening, and the schools feed it, and also because everybody's got to work. But what happens is these kids, instead, my sayings when my kids were little were they didn't know how to spell something. I'd say, if you want to spell beautiful, BEA, look it up. And
Right.
I'd give them a dictionary.
Right.
Or, when they started poking at each other, slapping each other, acting up, not focusing, get outside and play. Get
Right.
outside and play. Ride your bike. I don't know what to do. Ride your bike. Ride it
Right.
around the block
Roller
20
skates.
times.
Skateboard. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
But
Well,
on the On the flip side of that, though, we did that. I mean, I used to get in trouble when I was a kid because I'd be outside too long. They couldn't find me because I was just gone. The world isn't safe now. And, it probably wasn't as safe then either, but people didn't have, not everybody had a vehicle. Even when I was a kid, I mean, not everybody had a vehicle. Things weren't as accessible as they are now. So I do know as a parent myself, I was, kept my kids closer and tucked in closer at home than I ever was. But yeah, I mean, we had a trampoline in the, and we do here, we got the kids' playground here, but
Yeah.
we do keep the kids tucked in close because there's so much shit out there. Are the kids buying into some other kids buying into Slender Man, and you have to worry about who's your kid playing with, it's things like that. So I understand people wanting to keep their kids tucked in, but putting them on the internet is not the answer either. Build them a playground outside of your own yard.
Right. And the thing is that, comes down to science. They're looking for dopamine. Are you going to put them on the trampoline, or are you going to put them on the iPad?
Right.
And I think that society has kind of made it so it's just easier to put them in front of technology.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's full-time babysitter.
Right.
And I've seen that. Man, my kids, when we first got, a computer in the house, AOL, dial up, the old me, all that stuff. And it sat in the living room, so if one of the kids were on it, and I'm a firm believer that that's the way it should be for everybody. If you have a computer in your house, it needs to be where everyone in the house has access to it, can use it. We ain't hiding up in our bedroom, and time limits. Before computers came into the homes, it was Segas and Nintendos. And I seen, within the family, nieces, nephews, and stuff, that some of these kids would be violent. I mean, just little assholes if they couldn't play their game. So when I seen that, my kids were little enough that I seen it as a problem before they got old enough to be interested in it. And, my kids grew up in the Nintendo age, and they never had a Nintendo. They had Sega. We did get a Sega, and they played it. It had to be like raining outside, cold outside. It was very rarely that they would even say, Mom, will you plug in the Sega? I bet that thing, by the time, they outgrew it and didn't want to play it anymore, I bet they hadn't played it 100 times.
Right.
So, it falls down to, what do you want your little people to grow up being? And spend that time with them and teach them that definitely things on the internet are not true. Now, there's reliable sources out there, absolutely, but look at other sources before you just believe what you see on the internet.
I think you're. I noticed. That, I was just say there's a curve. So like little Lenny there, when he plays Spider is real. But as he grows up, it's important to, say, okay, we're done playing now, and that's not real, or that we have superheroes because we need somebody that does the right thing.
Right. I mean, yeah, we, discuss all that. Now, of course, he's 3, and he doesn't get that whole concept. But, I mean, we already do tell him, that's not real, that because, he loves to watch. Now he's on the Justice League. We've been watching Justice League for 5 days. And he wants to know, where is Superman? Well, Superman's in the movie, honey. That's it. You know, that Superman really doesn't live anywhere among us. He's just on TV. You know, so we got to break it down to them and explain in terms that they're old enough to understand. And, you know, like when they're scared of the monsters under the bed, I've seen parents encourage that, you know, to make them think, oh, they'll stay in the bed. No, no, no. You don't want to encourage make believe things, but then that takes me to Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny, and that's a whole other thing. Because,
Yeah.
of course, if Jess was here, you know, she doesn't do that with her kids because she, I don't want to be spoiling anything out here, but obviously, Gail, you know where I'm going with that. So I guess there's a fine line, you know. But there again, like you said, when they're old enough, that becomes, you know, hopefully. But, you know, for some children, that's heartbreaking, you know, when that reality is revealed, you know. So, you know, what do you do? What do you do? So I guess we'll end on that note. Want to remind everybody to check out all the links we will have in the chat. I don't just put one up there. That's all I can see, but I'll go put in everything for Native Hope, for the missing and murdered I always get stuck on that word, Gail.
Indigenous.
Indigenous women. I don't know what it is. I just can't. I know how to say indigenous, but when I'm trying to roll it up like a book, I get stuck on it. So the missing and murdered indigenous women. We'll put that website up. We'll put Native Hope up. Next week we will have a case that we'll be talking about, and I'm going to start sharing some of that on our Bloodstains and Broomsticks page. So everybody, please, you know, check that. Look at these pictures. Look at these women, and you know, let's step up and let these people know we do care. We care, and maybe if more of us care, they will start trusting us, people with this white skin, and know that, you know, some of us are safe, and we do want to help them. So, you know, I guess that's about all I have to say. Thank you, Gail, for being our special guest host. And I think we're still working on trying to keep you coming because we like having you here. And, you know, it's great. It's great to have a backup when, you know, one of us is sick. And it seems like Jess and Lenny may have the same thing happening here. We got some
Oh,
crud going around Alabama,
keep that
apparently.
crud coming out.
I know that's why, I guess. Keep that crud in there. But we did, you know, do the test and that was negative. So it's not that on this end. I don't know about Jess, but on this end, it's just whatever little crud he's picked up at work. So we're going to
I hope
hope.
they both start better.
Yeah, the same. Yeah, we all sending them good signals. So I don't think we have a special topic to talk about as of yet, so I can't tell you. We may just talk about whatever case with Native Hope that we're going to be working on. We'll see where our research goes this week. Unless, Gail, there's something that you want to talk about next week.
I'm not off the top of my head, but we'll see what comes up.
Yeah, and I think, you know, the murdered and missing indigenous women are, you know, a really, really important thing. So I think it'll be the last show of the month for us. So yeah, we'll probably maybe just we'll focus on that. We need to give us enough time to do more research, get our, you know, get my facts in front of me. I'm sure you already know it, but you had some interesting theories. So yeah, I think let's kick off and just do the next episode all about the what we're doing and how we're going to help and what cases we're going to work on for March.
Sounds good.
All right, y'all. Everybody have a great hump day, and we will see y'all next week. Thank you, Gail. And I won't see you backstage this time because I got to go see what that 3-year-old is. We'll see y'all later. Have a great day, everybody.